My definition of sense of humor is not to laugh at another person or at a joke, but at myself. All the stupidities I have, all the idiotic things that I do, and really I laugh from my stomach, and that helps a lot.
As long as I feel I'm being authentic and I have conviction of what I'm saying, I'm fine with it. So it doesn't matter if people criticize, if people are uncomfortable. That's okay.
When I lost my husband and the board asked me to become the executive chairperson, I was not at all ready for this position. I realized death is not a tragedy because it's inevitable.
Mom is a sulker, I will say. And my husband is exactly the opposite. He'll say that if we have an argument, we must decide that we will settle the argument before we go to bed.
Hello and welcome to Stree at the Table, the podcast where we spotlight voices, experiences, and leadership of incredible leaders, women who are shaping our world. Today we have the honor of having with us two incredible leaders. Anu Aga, business leader and philanthropist who steered Thermax to great heights and dedicated her life to impactful social change. And her daughter, Pudumjee, who continues her wonderful legacy of leadership and purpose as current chairperson of Thermax. Anu's journey is one of grit and overcoming challenges since she took over as chairperson in 1996. Under her leadership, Thermax not only navigated a turnaround, but also grew into a global entity known for its sustainable and innovative solutions. Since taking over the reins from her mother in 2004, Meher has led the global expansion of Thermax while maintaining its strong focus on environmental and social responsibility. Get ready for an inspiring conversation about resilience, family, and the power of women shaping the future, both in business and beyond. Okay, welcome Anu and welcome Meher. And before I say anything or ask anything, I need my 1 minute of fangirling because I want to tell you that I walked into this sector, and even before that, of course, through the news, I was a fly on the wall in many rooms where you spoke and then you spoke. And I would always come back with a sense of awe, which is one of the reasons why we're doing this today, because I want more people to find that in spite of, the awe-inspiring feeling, this is something that they can also imbibe. But the reason I have been in awe is, and the words that kept coming to me when I watched you and you separately and together is grit and, grit along with leadership. There was so much of grit and then there was so much of joy. It was not all somber, it was not all serious, but then what you've been able to do over years is the magnitude of it is not small. So today, as we, begin this interview, first is thank you so much for agreeing to jointly do this conversation, because it would be lovely to see you both speak. But also, welcome to this conversation. And I hope you have as much as a good time as we all had organizing this.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you. So, Anu, I'm going to obviously begin with you.
Why obviously? Is it age, wisdom, what?
No, you came first.
So serial order. Okay.
No, because the story actually unravels like that, right?
Okay.
You have a very interesting background, and I don't think you thought life will pan out this way. So leadership almost happened to you. From very good news of Thermax going public to, things that happened that were not in your control, tragedies that found you suddenly in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I would love if you could begin from there, because, of course, a lot happened before, but how did you then manage the spotlight? Were you even thinking that you would be ready for it? How was it for you?
Yeah. Naghma, when I lost my husband and the board asked me to become the executive chairperson, I was not at all ready for this position. I was head of HR in Thermax, which I loved, and I was comfortable. We did very well as a company in HR. But overnight, to ask me to be the executive chairperson was daunting for me. And I kept telling myself that how can I ever replace my husband, who was iconic.
Yes.
Also, I'm so bad at technology. I'm terrible at finance. Today, I count like this on my fingers. So, how can I lead this company? And the more I was hesitant, the more miserable I became. But the board was firm, I had to take over. And what helped me tremendously was going for a Buddhist meditation program called Vipassana, where 10 days you don't talk. And my husband used to say he would love to see me quiet for 10 days.
Oh.
But being quiet was not at all difficult. What it helped me to do was to be in touch with my own inner strength and not to keep making myself a second-class citizen and not to keep comparing. And I realize an apple tree cannot give peaches. So if I go to an apple tree and say, give me peaches, I won't enjoy the apples nor the peaches.
How beautiful.
So that was a lesson. I also realized, I heard you say you face many tragedies. I realized death is not a tragedy because it's inevitable. We don't accept this inevitable phenomena and call it a tragedy.
Yes.
To me, tragedy is not getting along with people whom I love while they are alive.
Yes.
So I came back charged, and that's what gave me the energy to do whatever I had to do.
How beautiful.
And thank God I went for it, because 12 months after my husband died, my son met with a car accident.
Yes.
He was only 25.
Yes.
And of course, I felt terrible, but I could deal with it.
Yes. Yes.
And I had the fortune of having lovely supporters like my family.
Yes.
They were great for me.
Yeah, and what I can obviously see is some brilliant values that held you strong.
I didn't know
in
I
that time.
had that strength.
Yes.
I really didn't know.
Yes.
Earlier, I was so paranoid of death that I used to touch wood. And if we were going on Bombay-Pune road, I would tell my husband to stop and find a tree. That paranoid I was of death. But somehow, all of us have a lot of strength within. But women especially discount that.
Yes.
We are not aware of it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So what you're also alluding to is, and here I would like to come to you. How is it, Meher? Yes,
Yeah,
please,
can I
please.
just say a little more with Anu? I think Mom probably didn't really realize the inner strength. You know, my dad had a heart attack and a stroke at the age of 47. And my mom was with him. He was a different person altogether when he had his stroke. First of all, he couldn't recognize anyone initially. He didn't know what numbers were, what alphabet is, what colors were. Nothing. I mean, he became, from this brilliant man, he was a vegetable for a short while. And it's my mom's grit, determination, just being by his side, making him go through physiotherapy, speech therapy, having that conviction that this man is going to come out of it. You know, so I think that latent feeling of that grit that you spoke about, that determination, genuine love and belief.
Yes.
I think Mom has always had. And so all that came out in a very positive way when she had to take over Thermax suddenly.
And you having to watch all of this. Like, in some ways you get to watch this brilliance in action, this grit and determination in action, but also being the child of two phenomenal, very inspirational people. It brings its own brilliant lessons. It also brings its burden. And one might say that you were more prepared to be leading a company like Thermax, but you also had the burden of legacy, right? How was it for you at that time and even after that?
So for me, it was, I think Anu went through a very, very difficult time when she had to take over. But I didn't expect my mom to want to retire at the age of 62.
Yes.
I thought she'd stay on. And
I think when she did decide to retire, I was quite annoyed with her. And I said, there's no way that you can do this. And my mum actually there was a press conference and she announced it at the press conference before really discussing it with us. And I get it today because the way she does it is she says it to the public so that then she can't go back on that word, whereas if she said it to me, I would say, no, but stay on for a few more years.
Yes, of course you would have.
And so I was angry actually initially, and I was very diffident and not confident at all. I was 37 and I had my 2 little babies at that time. And so I think I told Anu that, if you could stay on for a few more years, that would help. But since she had made that decision, I had to respect it. And she said that if you don't want to take over, I'll get someone from the outside. So my mom's also quite headstrong in terms of... and so I, for the first time, decided, okay, maybe I'll go to Vipassana and take 10 days to just be with myself, my own thoughts. And I have to say that it really did help. And I came back feeling a lot more confident in myself, a lot stronger to take over the role. Of course, that gun to my head also did help me take that decision. And yes, and that's when I took it over. But it wasn't easy because of youth as well as being a woman.
Yes.
But I have to say that Thermax is a company that has been very, very supportive of the family.
Yes.
Just everyone, whether it's workers, staff, everyone. And they want to see us successful. And so I think everyone helped in trying to see that I was a success, starting with the board, everyone around.
Yes. No, there's such a perception, and which is obviously true, about Thermax being a very value-based company. It's run on very integral values. But as both of you are speaking, one of the feelings that I couldn't articulate over so many years of listening to you is there is a lot of centering within you. You're very centered. I don't know if this is the right word, if you identify with it. But the world is noisy and it's chaotic and it's crazy. And then you center within yourselves and find the strength to then step out and, face another day. But while you're doing this, Anu, this is not just once you've stepped down of, your leadership role at a time when people just kind of get into the thick of it. They want to build a stronger legacy. We have enough and more examples of leaders who don't want to retire in time. But you kind of didn't just retire in time, you retired early. And you almost how giving away power has to be a little more difficult, no? I mean, how do you manage it?
In our company, retiring age is 60, so I was 2 years later. And I don't think as a family we need to make exceptions. I don't believe in that. I come from an HR background, so succession planning for me is very important. And I know the mess I was in because there was no planning. So I wanted a smooth succession. I also wanted to change gears while I had the energy to get back into the social space. And the last was an ego need. I didn't want to undignify myself by staying on and on. As you have said, some men do find it very difficult till all around them people are saying, "Ye Buddha kabhi jayega." So I didn't want that. And I'm sure if I'd stayed on beyond a point, then you have nothing else to fall back. So you hold on to your position. So I think there's a time and a place to graciously get down, get away. What is the right? Whatever.
Let go.
So,
yes.
And I had a lot to do. I do my meditation, exercise, walking, social work, traveling, friends. So I had many things to do. So that was fine.
And find value in it. You were into politics, you were in social sector way before.
But that I didn't enjoy. And I wouldn't want it for anyone. 6 years of wasted time.
No, but again, your voice has always, this is what is beautiful about the both of you. That you say whatever you want to say, but there is a there is such genuineness. It's not said to assert or for power. It
Or
is said just
not-
because you need to say it.
No, not only that, but I'm not criticizing people. I'm systems,
Correct.
policies, that. So I'm never attacking an individual.
Yes, yes.
That's important.
This even men don't find easy, right? So speaking truth to power, calling out systems, structures, but it has come, and like I said, it's come with a lot of grace, and therefore when you say something, it doesn't seem personal, but you are saying things that nobody else has said in that time. And now as you become, you became chairperson, and how do you feel this is associated? Is there an imposter syndrome that comes when you're standing in these rooms saying things that others are not saying? Is that something, or is that just a fancy word?
No, but let me tell you that mum is far more straight
Yes.
than I am.
Okay.
Yeah, that's her. Having said that, I truly believe in authenticity. And I remember, Naghma, when I was in England and my dad had come over there and I was taking part in a piano competition, and he made me practice and practice and practice. And then just before the competition, he just whispered into my ear saying, Meher, play to express rather than impress.
Amazing.
And those words have stood by me. And I've seen it with my parents.
Yes.
They walk the talk. They are so authentic.
Correct.
In terms of what they mean, they say what they say they mean. And I think that to me is really, really fundamental. So as long as I feel I'm being authentic and I have conviction of what I'm saying, I'm fine with it. So it doesn't matter if people criticize, if people are uncomfortable, that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Someone had very sweetly said to me, are you willing to be misunderstood? And I think that for me was a cornerstone of personal discovery.
True.
That if we are willing to be misunderstood, and if we are not so fussed about what the world thinks, and come from a true place, it does lend itself to authenticity. So over the many years, has anything changed for women? Today we find many women, and many more women than ever before in workforce, and they come in with starry eyes and they want to progress, but we also see that at different stages they start dropping off because it just becomes a bit much. So if there was something that you wanted them to know, to hold on to what they have, what would that be?
In a corporate world, it's a pyramid. So even all men can't reach the top. Of course, fewer women enter the space, so fewer get to the top. Plus, in some cases, there is bias against women. But I would say to women that some of these things you don't have control, the external world. Except that when you have to be assertive, you should be assertive and not just keep quiet. If someone has played dirty talk, women tend to keep quiet. So be in touch with your internal strength and navigate your way. Don't act helpless. But in the social work field, I have seen, Naghma, women don't take their work seriously. I haven't seen that so much in the corporate world, except at the lower levels, that as soon as their husbands make a good packet, they think they don't have to work. Or they say, I'm a little tired, I'll take a year off.
Yes.
So I feel let women confront this side in them. Where do they take their work seriously? Again, I'm not talking of women leaders, but to reach high, you have to go through these.
Yes.
Men also have to go through. It's not only a women thing.
Yes.
Men had to go through prejudice in the company. Sometimes you are bypassed. So make it as little as possible as a male-female issue, and assert yourself where you can. Prepare yourself, train yourself, get to learn. I know with a family it's difficult, but again, if you are in an executive position, you have help at home.
Yes.
Invariably, your in-laws, your mother is there. Make full use of all those resources.
Basically, ask and use.
Ask and use.
And
Absolutely.
delegate.
and delegate. Yeah,
Shamelessly.
Meher did it beautifully.
Yes, Meher, tell us more about it. How does
No,
one
I
navigate?
think first of all, it is not easy because of the hundreds of years of messages, social messages
Yes.
that have gone through to women. And therefore, it's not.
And to men.
And to men, yeah.
Yes.
And the men differently, different messages. And so it's not easy and it won't happen overnight. But I think probably the more and more you see people, role models, you see people doing it differently, you might want to try it yourself.
Yes.
But I think for me it was also helpful that I had my in-laws who lived just downstairs, and my mom of course was busy, but I had my sister-in-law, I have a lot of friends, I had a very supportive husband. So I think I shamelessly delegated, and I would, if it was taking to a birthday party and I knew that I couldn't be there, I would tell a friend of mine, if you're taking your child, please can you pick up my kids as well. And the only thing that I made sure was that I wouldn't delegate the things that meant a lot to me and to the child, which is like your PTA meetings,
Correct.
so coming for them. I don't know if it meant too much for my children, but it did mean a lot
it
for
does.
me.
It does mean for
Or
children.
coming for a concert,
Yes.
that they were, on stage. Things like that, I would do anything to make sure that I was there.
So prioritize and
So
delegate.
prioritize, absolutely. But
Yes.
otherwise, just shamelessly delegate and don't feel guilty, I would tell women.
Yeah, that's
you
a feeling which women love. They feel guilty if they are working and neglecting their children. They feel guilty if they are not working and they see their other colleagues, friends working. I say, get rid of that damn feeling.
Yes.
It's a most useless feeling.
So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, so I find when I speak to newcomers, especially youngsters coming from colleges, I find that the women are so diffident in terms of asking questions. And I speak to everybody who joins Thermax. I spend a couple of hours with them. I take them through the whole history and story of Thermax. And I open it up to questions, anything, comments. And it's normally the boys who are, wanting asking questions, passing comments, whatever. And I keep saying, okay, now can we have you speak? Can we have you speak? And they're so diffident. And yet when they speak and the question that they ask is so good.
Yes.
So I say, please, I'm sure there are so many people sitting in this audience who say, oh, I wish I had asked that question.
Yes.
So don't feel that any question is, stupid.
Yeah.
Just
I was going
speak
to
up.
ask you, how do you bring that culture into the company which you've already, because if you're speaking to the new joinees, you're speaking to staff, there's a lot of values and culture that flows down because of that. But this pattern that you see in the new entrants, do you see this in the boardrooms as well? Like, does it get better as women rise in leadership roles?
I've not seen it in the boardroom at all. I think men and women speak
Equally.
out. Yeah,
Very nice.
In the boardroom. I have not seen that difference at all. But there are such few women at the board level.
Yeah. How does one correct that? If we are it's not overnight that we can do it.
Yeah.
But how does one correct it?
I think there are many now institutes or many people who are putting together sessions for women to become good board members, which I think is a good thing. I just feel that a lot more women, first of all, need to get to the top.
Yes.
And for that, I think, I really don't have answers, but maybe a lot more, first of all, have to come in at the entry level, which in an engineering company, we do find more difficult. Yeah. And now everybody wants to go into IT and AI and,
humanities.
all that. And of course, the humanities, of course, but that was always the case.
Yeah.
But now, all these new found ideas that are coming up. And so I think it's very difficult, but I think it's also an excuse. And I have seen Cummins, for example, who started off with, 20-odd% women, and who have said that they want to get to 50% worldwide. And I think in India they're at 35 or 38%. So I think where there is a will, there is a way.
So intentionality.
I think so.
Yeah.
And we ourselves started off with 6%. we said we will move to 15% in 3 years, which is by the end of December 25. And we've moved from 6 to 10 and in the last 1.5 years. And I think so when there is a focus, where there is a will,
Yeah.
there is genuinely a way. We
Yeah.
find a way.
Correct.
Yeah.
So intentionality.
Yeah.
And so I come back to you
Yeah.
and resume from where we stopped on, you stepping down. Like you said, you intended to give away power, and understanding that your family may not be very happy about it, you also made an announcement, so you're held accountable publicly that yes, you're stepping back.
I may be also not ready. By then, I was in the media glare.
Yes.
My ego was tickled. So it's not that easy. And I was determined. So I
Yes.
made a public announcement.
Correct.
Then I can't
Yeah,
back out.
that is exactly what I was going to ask you. You are in the public eye. There was a lot of awe around you, and especially at that time, and you were very, very much in there. And why would you, I think we spoke about the why, but it isn't easy. So you also went public and announced that I want to step down. So the process of kind of letting go, especially, it's not easy at all. How did you navigate it? And were you really able to do it that easily?
Easy or not, once I decide a thing, I do it.
So what I'm actually asking about is power is very addictive.
Very addictive.
It's very, I'm actually talking to that
Hmm.
that thing. Power is very addictive. It's something that, and we're seeing more and more around us that, giving up power is very, so just resting on that a little bit. There's the giving away of power to come back and say, okay, from today I'm not going to do these 5 things.
Hmm.
It's even well-intentioned people are not able to follow through on that. So how does that work out?
I think I like taking challenges, which I believe in, not for the sake of a
Taking
challenge.
challenges.
So one of the things was retiring at an age when you can do other things and someone can take over, and I'm always available for Mare for anything she needs. But uninvited, I never interfere. So to me, it's an important thing for my growth to do things which I value. One of the things was social work. I'm a social worker.
Yes.
So I wanted to get back to that field. And as I said, I've seen men, how they undignified themselves. When I'm with youngsters, they said, one thing teach our parents or grandfather how to step down. They don't, and if they step down, they are interfering and they are after telling us at each step what to do. They might as well have been there, So I think seeing all this, I don't like to be that person. So, and my daily meditation definitely helps.
Definitely helps.
Definitely helps. I think so. I'm not all goody or become great. I'm very rational. I'm judgmental. But my shit has come down.
That is so sweet, and brings me to the next question, which
Can
is,
I also just say
Yes.
that, because I'm the one who she handed over to,
yeah,
and it started, Naghma, with her actually physically moving out of her room the day that she handed over and saying, now this is your room. And I said, Mom, you can continue here. I can sit in my room. And she said, no. She said, this is the chairperson's room and you will start sitting over here, which was my dad's room in the
Amazing.
old office. So it started with that, you
Yeah.
know. And then genuinely, there has been absolutely zero interference. But she has always been there in terms of, should I need anything? And I do go to her very often for help, for
Non-technical.
advice.
Non-financial,
Yeah, but I mean
non-technical.
that is
Otherwise,
fine,
our
but-
company would just.
Oh no! But this is all sounding really nice.
And
What
I
about
always say that she's my mentor, but she's also my tormentor.
yeah,
Both.
Aren't there conflicts? How
Of
do you?
course,
Yeah.
of
How do you resolve that?
Mum is a sulker, I will say, and my husband is exactly the opposite. He'll say that if we have an argument, we must decide that we will settle the argument before we go to bed. So he never carries any argument to the next day.
Wow.
And I have picked up the sulking at nature from my mom. So I've learned with Feroz, and Feroz has been very helpful, almost like a mediator sometimes between us, seeing it from a distance. He says, maybe you need to come together, maybe you need to talk about it. Um, and I think mom, with her Vipassana over the years, I think that sulking has come down substantially. So I think just communicating helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you are two strong personalities
Hmm.
with different spaces of strengths and weaknesses. So it would be lovely to watch how conflict resolution happens between the two of you, really.
No, but don't forget, it's enveloped in a bond
Love.
of love.
Yeah.
Strong, strong. To me, she's the most precious person in this world, my best friend. I lean on her perhaps more because she has her other family members. Yes.
And a lot of trust.
Lot of trust.
Trust, between the two of us. So we don't read between the lines. She said this, but she must have meant this. Never, never. It's so pure in that sense. There's a lot of conflict.
Also,
But in
as
that,
I'm
there's a lot of
aging
purity.
and forgetting things, she is mindful of my falling down or anything. And I resent that too much dependency and telling me, don't do this, don't do that. I'm not allowed to drive anymore.
Okay.
I was always a
sorry.
terrible driver, but they said, we are not bothered about you, we are bothered about the pedestrians. At one level, I know that's the truth. But to stop giving up things one by one is a difficult process. I'm a very independent person. So that these days are more areas of conflict than anything major.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I think the protectionism from a daughter's point of view comes in as my mum ages, and so I don't mean to be mean to her or stop something, but it's like out of protection.
Yes.
What if? And then my mum says, but you're being selfish. It's because you don't want to be there for me that you're doing this sometimes.
Oh, we have
She's using the mom privilege.
We've never had a bad conversation when it's something related to work, because then our rationality is working and not emotions. Never. We can.
You're right.
And these things, as I'm growing old, I love traveling. And if I don't find a partner, I go on my own in a coach trip. I know it causes her a little anxiety,
Little.
but I said, you deal with it. That doesn't stop me from doing what I want.
Yesterday, she came back to Pune on the Deccan Queen from Bombay.
Day before.
Day before yesterday.
Really?
And yeah.
What do you mean, really?
And she tells me this morning that she tripped on the stairs and fell. And she said the platform was a little slippery and I was a little nervous. So I was saying, Mom, try and don't do it on your own. Try and get someone with you. Now, I don't know how much Mom will listen to
Is
me.
it possible if I'm traveling, tell someone come with me because my daughter says I have a need a ridiculous. So then what I do is I want to share everything with you. I tell you, shall I not tell her this? That happens to me.
Yeah. And then Mom says, actually, the first person I think of and I'm so scared is you.
What will she say?
But you still speak about it, right? You still share.
Yeah, I still share.
But that is, again, a very unique quality that is not often found. And I think you have a lot of that as well, which is even in places where there are experts talking and, there are things happening. There will be Anu who will be logging in and saying, but I have this question. And it will be said with absolute confidence, without a worry on what people are thinking, or is it intelligent, is it not? And that is so brilliant because it eases everyone into being able to ask.
But Naghma, I must tell you something, and that might help the women. My father sent me to a school which was bilingual, English and Hindi, Gujarati. And my brothers were sent to an English medium. All my cousins went to an English medium. So everyone spoke perfect English. I didn't know English well. I would make many faux pas, many mistakes. People would laugh at me. my self-worth was low because of this. And I realized, damn it, why should my self-worth depend on a language? Chinese, Japanese don't know English. So I'll make mistakes. So what? So in India, people feel very bad if they don't know English. They don't know their own Hindi mother tongue. They don't feel bad. So I want people to realize that don't let your self worth be tied to a language. It's a language needed for commercial success. So if you have to know it, learn about it, but don't tie up your self worth.
But that's for men and women.
Men and
Both.
women.
A lot of lessons actually men could do a lot with. It's like you said, over years the lessons that have been learned are equally harmful for men.
Yeah.
Actually, they're not always our the people who are inflicting harm. There's a lot of harm that happens because of the messaging that has gone down to them of being a certain
course.
kind. And as you raise the next generation, is it conscious that some things have to be kind of passed down as values, or just the two of you exposing themselves to how you have lived, how you have gone through, is good enough? Again, I'm asking you this in particular because
That
we are.
You have to ask the next generation.
No,
but
but
we are
as-
constantly, I think we are constantly talking about it. We constantly discuss it. Now both my children are in Thermax. So all five of us, discuss it.
We meet every 3 to 4 months as a family forum. We picked it up from the YPO, Mayor and Feroz store. Feroz actually takes the lead. And we talk about anything which we haven't talked in these last 3, 4, which is bothering me. If something is bothering about my grandson or granddaughter or Mayor or Feroz, this is a forum to talk. And it ends with a fun game and a dinner, usually. When they were young, I've been on 8 holidays with my grandchildren, just the 3 of us.
Oh,
So the bonding is very strong. But they have a mind of their own, not like my children. Like my daughter, my son was very obstinate. But my daughter was a very easy girl to bring up. But my grandchildren try and they go there.
But I think all of the next
Maybe,
gen, they
maybe,
have
but I
quite a
love them.
voice.
They are my grandchildren.
the one thing that stands out in this conversation otherwise, and you referred to it when the cameras were not rolling, is that all conversations and all, we don't have to get so serious about
Yeah.
what's happening in our lives, and the sense of humor goes a long way. And I just love you to speak on that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has helped me in life is a sense of humor. And my definition of sense of humor is not to laugh at another person or at a joke, but at myself. All the stupidities I have, all the idiotic things that I do, and really I laugh from my stomach. And that helps a lot.
And that just also makes it easier to navigate whatever
Of course,
is
of
being.
course. You don't take everything so seriously, because I read 3 lines which have stayed with me are: stay on this earth is short, our roles dispensable, and our impact inconsequential. So if you think you are great, it brings you down. These 3 things and a sense of humor.
Thank you. As we come to a close, I would want to ask both of you this question. Saying, one is, what do you think is amongst the many things that are great about her? What do you think is the best 1 or 2 things about her?
I think her authenticity. Mum is who she is. She doesn't ever pretend to be somebody else. Of course, love and all that, it goes without saying. But I think just the fact that she's very much her own person. And I love that about her. And in many ways, I feel that that's the reason why you also don't carry too much of a burden on your shoulders, because you don't have to pretend to be someone else depending on the situation.
True.
So I just love that about her.
And what do you think is the best thing about her?
My daughter is very non-judgmental, which I'm not. And someone is rude to her, she doesn't hold it against it. She really is genuinely a good human being. If someone was a good, I would say my daughter.
Oh my God. Can I tell you that if I could bottle both of you and take you home?
Don't pickle us, we are still alive.
No, it is I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone here, and I know whoever will listen to this, that this is the most warmest, beautiful conversation that I've
Thanks
had.
to you. You,
No, no.
But I think many mother and daughters share a very strong bond.
Yes,
Na?
yes, yeah.
Very strong.
And
And
that's
that's
why
very
watching
special.
it like this is
And
very special.
we are not playing the role of mother and daughter, but friends,
Friends,
yeah.
equals.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can tell each other our secrets, our doubts, many things which you normally have 10 friends to say one to another. I have all rolled in one.
That's so beautiful. No, but thank you for letting us into this world and letting us watch you both like this. This is the most
Thank you.
priceless 1
Thank
hour
you.
that I've had and all of us have had. And I'm sure everyone who listens and sees this will see it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank
And
you.
thanks to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.